Welcome to Sunrise Extra. Welcome, welcome. We have so many new folks grabbing a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, sitting down at their work from home station,
Absolutely.
whatever that looks like, and joining us for Sunrise Extra. This is
Look at that.
Our format that we've been doing. If you're new to the show,
That's my social distancing dance.
Yeah.
If you're new to the show, Nina tries to keep us on task.
wrangle them in.
I'm usually a little like all over the place
Yeah.
until I focus in. This one
This
is
one's
always all over the
impossible.
place.
Yeah.
But he makes us laugh.
Let's talk this
We
morning,
each
shall
have
we?
our roles.
Let's talk about the topic at hand.
Yeah, so the deal with Sunrise Extra is we usually pick a couple topics that are, the big stories of the day, the big talker things, stuff we have you guys vote on through the show, or sometimes we throw all that out the window and just have fun. Today is a combination of a couple things. We're going to be talking, of course, about coronavirus, but mostly about how, are you guys really, I want you to be honest, are you actually practicing the physical distancing when you go out and about as much as you can, or are you just whatever? Because we've been seeing, I want to show you this video from Florida right now where it's
This is
crazy spring break time. And folks are just packing the beaches down there.
It's like it's
a
a
lot of
normal
young
spring
people,
break.
like it's totally normal times, right? Look at that. A lot of people are 6 feet away from each other, but a lot of people are not. And so there is this big warning from the World Health Organization and even the president saying the young people. I hate always saying millennials.
Okay, I love this. Our executive
key.
producer just got into my ear and she said, look, because Celeste, do you mind if I say how old you are?
She's 12.
She's mid-20s. But she said technically it is Gen Z that is on spring break right now, not millennials.
Really? Okay.
So she's a millennial.
I
and
apologize.
She's saying, hey,
young
look.
people are the key to not passing this around. And you think of states like Florida, the retirement state,
Yeah.
where there are a lot of vulnerable older people.
One would think that the state would have to clamp down on that if the state of Florida is serious, and because that is just a mess.
We had this epic soundbite from this bra who was out on the beach in Florida. Listen to what he said.
If I get corona, I get corona. At the end of the day, I'm not going to let it stop me from partying.
I'm worried for the older people, but not for me.
Oh my God.
If I was his mother, I would be calling him and I would be cutting off all
no.
his finances.
If you were his mother, you would stay your distance from him right now, right? Because that guy is out of control and he is going to get people sick potentially.
Yeah,
That
I
is
can get
nuts.
online and drain his bank account. I would be furious if that was my child.
If you were the mom, you would do that.
Absolutely.
The young lady
Yeah.
after him, she wasn't much better, right?
No.
And her soundbite was terrible as well. Look who it is.
I'm going to pop in here for a
Yeah.
second. I want to make sure I'm not
Morgan,
blocking.
we were calling you. Do you hate that? I hate now this just saying millennial. It's just such a
I don't even know
stamp.
I don't know where to really separate all the different generations.
Where
the
do we
beginning,
cut
where the
off
end.
millennials?
Year-wise, I'm not sure, but that was a very valid point that Celeste made because spring breakers are not the 25-year-olds. Right. Well,
they're
maybe,
still in school.
but yeah, the ones in school, unless they're in grad school.
Right.
But I think it's, I don't want to give away my age.
Oh, why not?
But
We're
if
all
I
doing
was
that this
born
morning.
in the 90s, I would imagine that Gen Zers are early 2000s.
Yeah, well, my
That's
daughter's
right.
1998. She's 21, and
Okay.
she's a Gen Z.
Okay.
I don't know how far down it goes. I've lost
Interesting.
track of you people.
We're all one age. No, it's interesting.
Well,
I mean,
that's helpful. There's a graphic up right now.
Oh.
I should study this for a
did
moment.
Celeste do this? Common generational names in the U.S.
Okay,
Tough
I
to
don't have
read.
my glasses on. People,
So-
I'm Somebody, read out loud.
I'm gonna go from the-
Read out loud.
There, you can see it. Everyone can
Let's
see
start with
81 through 96 is millennial.
it.
Wow.
Very interesting.
There you go. Yeah, 1965 to 79, Generation X. 80 to 90, Millennials or Gen Y. Late 90s to the 2010s, Gen Z. And there I am reading the screen.
Oh.
There I am.
Okay, interesting. Well,
Anyway.
I think the reason, and you said you don't like when people label or like the word
we
millennial.
only use millennial as a shaming word.
Derogatory.
Totally.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think it's because something we talked about earlier is a lot of people have a perception, and perhaps in some cases it may be accurate, that millennials are a little bit more entitled than other generations that came before them, that maybe worked harder for certain things or didn't have the world at their fingertips. I mean, we were raised in such different times and with such different access and means, I think, than the generations before us. So there is that perception with some of those older folks that we are entitled.
But you know what? Honestly, I raised your generation.
Yeah.
My generation, we've got kids who are millennials and Gen Z. That's our bad a lot of times.
That's what Dr. Doreen says, you know?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is, because we were the first generation where we had more disposable income, we had more access to everything, and I wanted to give my kids the best of everything. You know, you don't know what you don't know, and I think, you know, you start out wanting to shower with everything, and I can see how that, not everybody, not all my boomers, I'm just talking about me, you know, you can kind of make some mistakes by being a little bit too generous with certain things.
Could see that.
And not wanting your kids to struggle like you struggle. When it's really the struggle that helps build the character and, you know, make you who you are. I pretty much lucked out because my parents were, I mean, we didn't have a ton of money. Neither one of my parents graduated college, but they were all business people and they worked really hard, and I saw that, and I think that's probably where I got my work ethic.
Right.
But I was a little pill. I mean, despite their best efforts, when I was in my teen years, I was just mouthy, and I lucked out. My kids were not that way, despite, you know, some of the mistakes that I may have made at being on the permissive side raising them.
You always hear about that, like
context.
the sins you committed against your parents, you're probably going to have those same sins committed against you by your kids, but you're saying that was not the case.
It wasn't the case for me, and I always joke, oh my God, the Braxton gene is going to get into my grandkids, and they're not going to know what hit them. My kids will be like, whoa, where did this
Or
come
the
from?
My nanny was convinced that you were part of Tony Braxton's family.
That's funny.
My nanny. Until like a week ago.
People have asked me that over the years. Yeah, no relation.
I loved that question.
That's hilarious.
Anyway, Morgan,
Yes.
I thought it was fascinating because I've been seeing the same thing. Your friends on social media.
Yes.
Kind of tell us what some of them have been posting.
Actually, my boyfriend and I were just having this conversation last night because I went to University of Colorado at Boulder, and tons of my friends, you know, ended up moving from Boulder to these big cities, whether it's Chicago or New York or San Francisco, LA, Denver. And I'm looking through my social media feeds this weekend, and they are all still raging on. Like, nothing is going on. St. Fratric's Day is what we used to call it in college.
Yeah.
And not, you know, honestly, after college, it was cool. The novelty wore off, though, after a couple years. But I still see these kids in their late 20s. It's like, great, have an awesome time, enjoy yourself, but not now. Like, honestly,
Drink it home.
please,
You must.
drink at home, dye your beer, I don't know, whatever you do, play some music, eat some cabbage, but like there's no need to be at a crowded, packed bar just to celebrate St. Patrick's Day.
Well, it's not just no need. I mean, that's what we're being asked to not
Exactly.
do. That's what we're being asked to not do. Governor Inslee in Washington, I don't have the exact quote, but you know that the gist the other day was something along the lines of, we're all still living the way we've normally lived, we're not living the right way right now.
Yeah.
We're doing it wrong, essentially. And we actually have, can I jump in and just share some of these comments? Because
Yes,
we have a
please.
ton of people sharing comments this morning here on Facebook. And you noticed, Nina, that there are a lot more people watching us right now for whatever reason. People at home.
I think they're
wouldn't
fun.
I love
be at
it.
home.
We're all, you know, stuck in the same situation. So thank you for joining us. Grab a cup of coffee.
Not everyone is on the same page. I like to point out the negative comments as well as the positive ones. Max saying, nicely done, KGW, stirring up the SHIT pot once again. Not agreeing with this conversation. And Max, you're probably the reason why we're having this conversation right now, to be quite honest with you. Layla Marie talks about the fact that she works in a grocery store in Lake Oswego, and I say good morning to you, Layla Marie. She says she notices it every day. It feels daily that no one is taking this social distancing seriously from what she's seeing in the grocery store where she works in Lake Oswego. It is a little bit awkward, right? Because I went into the grocery store yesterday for the first time since last Monday. So, different world. Honestly, when I went to the grocery store last Monday, 10 days ago, plenty of toilet paper, no joke. Yesterday, no toilet paper, no rice, no eggs. But there was a situation where, like, I held the door for someone, and you could see that hesitancy. Like,
Yes.
What, you know, just natural instinct is to hold the door, and then the person looks at it like you're going to get out of the way, or aren't you?
Yeah.
And I just give her like the hello, and then kind of get out of the way, and then she went in. But there is an awkwardness there in some cases, and then in other cases, like Layla's pointing out, there is an obliviousness where people are just still operating as normal.
Well, and I think with maybe some kids my age, and we're not trying to stir the pot. I really
not
don't.
a kid, Morgan.
Right? Oh, I consider myself
I know,
a
but
child.
you're not a kid.
Thanks. We deserve respect. But yes, I would say that what I'm seeing is kind of what I covered in the morning show of maybe people at this point feeling like it doesn't impact them because they're my age. Like Brenda and I were talking about, because we are healthy and we're young, that maybe we won't get as sick, or if we do get sick, we'll get mild symptoms, might not even know we have it. But it's the fact that if we do get it, we could infect our parents, our grandparents, our friends who are immunocompromised, people that have diabetes that we don't even know.
You don't even know by
Anyone.
a swipe of a table
Right.
or picking up something. You
Right.
don't know how far that is going. Hey, you guys also text us on that number right on the bottom right of your screen. We want to show you a few of the texts that have been coming in. This person's saying, I wonder if some of those at the beach party get the virus and spread it unknowingly. There you go, as they might not be sick enough to know they
Totally.
could spread it to others in their own family, or even newborn nieces and nephews that might not do as well. This person saying, I am taking it seriously, but every time I go to the stores, no one else is. FYI, most of the people I have seen are Gen Xers and Boomers, actually. This person, yes, I am physically distancing out in public. My employer isn't even taking social distancing seriously. That's hard to do if your workplace is not down with it, you know.
Yeah, I've heard those same stories. People have been messaging me on Facebook saying, you know, my employer isn't really doing enough, you know, whatever it is. You know, back to the millennial thing, I think when this started, rightly or wrongly, there was kind of the messaging that the people who needed to be really, really concerned were older folks.
Right.
And I think when you're young and you're feeling invincible, it's not really impacting you. So I can see where that kernel started and now it's growing. But you know, we talk about being maybe a couple weeks or a week behind Seattle, whatever the, you know, the time frame is. So we are going to start to see the surge that the healthcare system is worried about. So all of us will start seeing more illness in our community. One of the doctors I spoke with, she reached out to me long before this blew up, and she said, I know that we have more infection in our community. I know it. I'm frustrated. I want to get that message out. And unfortunately, I think it's the snowball. You know, it's rolling down the hill, and we're going to start seeing it, and it is going to become more real to everybody.
You had mentioned that you talked to those doctors. I remember we were sitting like right here, and you were talking about how they knew at that point 2 weeks ago that we didn't have enough tests. And real quickly, anecdote, I was texting with my friend in Spain. I lived abroad in Spain, and I was texting with him last night. And I you know, said, hey, stay healthy, don't catch the virus, because when you talk about being a week behind Seattle, well, we're what, 2 weeks maybe? If that behind Spain and Italy is what they've said, is we could be behind these other countries, and perhaps maybe we'll see the same sort of procedures in place, you know, restrictions in place if we don't slow the spread of the virus, if we don't flatten the curve and practice social distancing. But I said, stay healthy, and he goes, I already got it.
Yeah.
He's my age, already got it. And I said, how did it feel? He said, you know, the symptoms, I had them for 7 days. He's recovered. He had the symptoms for 7 days. And he said he went to a party, and like 6 other people, so 7 people including himself, got it while apparently at this party.
What did he say about the symptoms?
Fever like?
So I didn't ask him about his fever, and he said the symptoms, he honestly said at first it felt, and because he's healthy and young, he said at first he had the, you know, the cough, the shortness of breath, kind of flu-like in terms of that fatigue. And again, it lasted. They probably came on a little stronger, whereas, like, you know, the flu comes on quickly and strong. His lasted maybe over a period of time. And that's what they're saying about COVID-19. I mean, 7 days, I've never had the flu for 7 days. So perhaps that was longer than typical. So that's why he realized, okay, this is not the flu, this is something different, because he had these more severe symptoms that were flu-like. And we also want to be very careful as to not say that this is like the flu.
Got it.
But you know what I mean? It's flu-like symptoms at first that may be difficult to differentiate between the two. But he said he's recovering, so after a week.
He's doing all right.
I know.
It is really good to hear those recovery stories, because that is, you know, like, it's not all doom and gloom, and it is important to say those. And that Johns Hopkins website that we've been showing you and kind of zooming in on, it is fabulous. And you can touch any country or city in the world, and it'll show you, you know, the number of cases, the number of deaths, and the number of people who have recovered which I think is really important to point out too, and I think they're trying to pull that up.
One thing we haven't done a lot of this morning is go through these comments. We have
Go ahead.
a ton,
Absolutely.
a ton of comments this morning. Brenda, you can, after this one, choose to comment or say pass.
Okay.
But I thought of you when I read this because really I've taken a lot of my leads on how to handle the situation here at work and even at home from some of your suggestions. I think you're a wise one. I hope you're
Just a
wise. 'Cause
little.
I'm doing everything you're telling me to do. You better be wise. Cindy says, nope. I have bills to pay. A house, cars. I don't want those bills to go unpaid. So I will be at work making money while others use this cold virus as an excuse to not work or get their bills paid.
Okay.
You choose to comment?
Completely wrong as far as the cold virus. That comparison, we just need to stop that in its
Yeah.
tracks. That's just BS. It's not. This COVID-19 is not a cold virus. Coronavirus does have strains that do produce the common cold, but we can't conflate the two. I get it. I mean, yes, people have to go to work, and if your work is still open and you're practicing some social distancing, you're doing your best. I mean, that's a personal decision. The state has not closed down businesses.
Yeah.
Restaurants and that type of thing, but they're still open doing delivery and takeout. So that's a personal decision. You know, everybody has to make their own, but I think while we're out, if you are at work as we are, you've got to take precautions because that's what the healthcare people are asking you to do.
I like that viewers are doing what we asked them to do today. They're sharing their personal experiences. One of those comes from Dawn this morning. Hello there, Miss Dawn Kimlinger. She said she went to Rite Aid yesterday. There was no signs there saying to start the line further back than usual or farther back than usual. She said the lady in front of her was very gracious. Dawn apologized to her for not knowing that there was a line. I guess the two of them got kind of close and she stepped back. She says the woman in front of her moved up to the register. Dawn removed far back, but then another gentleman came up and was way too close to her, she says, standing behind her.
You can't tell it's a
So
line,
like
it just looks like
social
you're farther back.
distancing
It's hard
doesn't
to
work if
know.
everyone's not doing it, right?
It's true.
It's
That's
just
true.
a weird thing. We're
Yes.
not
Yeah.
used to this, human behavior. I mean, then you kind of check yourself and you're like, oh yeah, I saw you the other day. Someone came up to talk to you and you backed up. And
Yes.
they moved forward and you're like, hello, I'm like backing up from you. And you
She's
just
been
have to
doing that to
laugh,
me for 3
like,
years, I noticed.
It's like
It is a
maybe
nice
like-
chance to like laugh together of
Yes.
like, oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, oh, I
Like,
forgot.
it's
Or
just
just, would you
weird-
mind taking
weird
a few
times.
steps back?
Yeah.
I'm going to point out a Stanford Walker comment only because he's
Tell me.
mentioned it now at least twice, maybe 3 times, and I know Brian, our director, has seen this. He's calling you out, Morgan, because he mentions that you're touching your hair and your face and then touching the table, and I guess he has an issue with that.
I have a problem, I will admit.
hard to remember.
I would
Yeah.
say this, for goodness sakes, Morgan probably washes her hands more than anyone else in the newsroom. You are an obsessive hand washer.
I am an obsessive hand washer because I am more prone. I'm so open about this. I am more prone to getting really sick. I am immunocompromised, and so I have been very cautious. So I appreciate you calling me out, Stanford, because I should not. I have a big issue with touching my hair and my face, so that's good. But that I saw something on Instagram that reminded me. Wow, I can't remember who posted it. But it was this really sweet kind of poem about how, and one thing that really stuck out for me is how never again will we take for granted a handshake from a stranger.
Oh, so true.
Right?
Yeah.
I wrote that poem and I posted it on Instagram.
Drew Carney, the comedian over here.
I mean, that's how my friends and I greet each other. We're like, we hug and, hi, and
Yeah.
we're like close.
Yeah, it's just
and
weird. You're just
It's
like,
like,
wow.
oh, I really do miss it though.
Yeah.
It's like my daughter, again, who
Yeah.
has some underlying health conditions right now, and we've really tried to give her space, and even at home, because it's darn near impossible to social distance at home, but we have been trying, and she's on board with it. She's also, good with that, and she goes, when do you think we'll be able to hug again?
Aw.
And I'm like, we probably can, but I'm like coming in and out of work, and
Yeah.
she's pretty much just at home right now, and so it is one of those things where she said, I don't remember a time when we were in the same house where we've been this hands off. Like, because my kids are still cuddly. Well, my daughter is still cuddly.
They always are.
Yeah.
Oh, it's sad.
Got any more comments, Drew?
No.
Very good.
I do have lots of comments. I was thinking of the uncomfortable situation I ran into, though, yesterday at Safeway when I was leaving the store, pushing my cart out. And as I'm leaving the store, going this way, I noticed and I locked eyes immediately with a man who I kind of know. I mean, I know him, but I'm only about 95% sure his name is Glenn. There was enough doubt where I didn't want to say it out loud, like, hey, what's up, Glenn? So I gave him the old, hey, what's up, man? And then as we got closer, you know, I'm thinking, what are we going to do here? Like, normally I think that would be it, but then I felt this compulsion to stick my elbow out. And we did an elbow bump. And then I went past him, and I thought, I still don't know his name for sure, and why did we just do the elbow bump? Like, we normally wouldn't shake hands. I went out of my way to go and do
It's like
something
that
very social distance like.
that I do too sometimes. Okay, on YouTube, he goes by the handle Dope.
Dope.
And he's watching from Los Angeles. Thanks for watching. I still am going house to house all over Los Angeles. I'm an aquarium and pond technician.
Whoa.
And this is how it spreads. And he's trying to keep working. He says, my boss not having it, that I don't go to work, or he would lose his job.
You know what else we should mention super quick, because I don't think we have yet, is the shelter in place. Somebody was asking on the screen, forgive me because I don't remember who it was, but how do you even enforce that? It's not a total lockdown in your house. People who have jobs that are deemed essential by the city, they will continue to go to work. You can get out and exercise. They're asking that you keep social distance. You can go to the grocery store. So it's not a total lock-in.
That's what I was going to say, though. That even if shelter in place is enforced, if it were to come to that, the grocery store continues to be one of the main areas of problems when it comes to the social distancing, and people were bringing this up, a number of people, because they're absolutely right. It is tough to create that social distance unless you're really adamant about it. You walk into the store saying, I'm going to approach every aisle with this intent social distance, but you'll still have that grocery store situation even if that stay in place order is issued by the city.
You know what
of
I've been
Portland.
doing is, like, even here at work, like, I'll turn my face as I walk past someone. If I can't avoid it, I'll just turn my, because I don't want the spittle.
I've been running.
You know, I'll just turn my face. It's on my back, like it's on my back. You know, what are you gonna do?
You're fine.
You're
That's
gonna wash
what
your
I do when I
clothes
run.
and I'm not reaching behind it. But
No.
like, I don't know.
I hear the music. It must be almost time to say goodbye.
What do you think we'll talk about tomorrow on Sunrise Extra?
What people are doing to stay mentally and physically well.
Wow, you already came up with an idea for tomorrow's show?
Think about that. Is that okay?
Millennial Morgan.
Overachiever.
We'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.